How can we accept that we are insignificant? This is one of the deepest and most unsettling questions we can ask ourselves. It is not about devaluing our existence, but about honestly recognizing the vastness of the universe and the smallness of our place within it. This realization, which may initially seem discouraging, also offers us the opportunity to free ourselves from false certainties and embrace a genuine freedom to create our own values. Let's think together. When we face the immensity of the cosmos, with its galaxies and mysteries stretching far beyond our comprehension, our existence, no matter how intense or passionate, seems like a tiny speck in an infinite expanse. This recognition does not have to be a cause for despair. On the contrary, it can be the first step toward a more realistic and humble view of who we are. Great thinkers, from the pre-Socratics to the existentialists, have debated this issue. For some, insignificance in the face of the universe is a call to humility, an acceptance of the limits of our understanding, and a freedom to construct meaning without the pressure of being the absolute center of everything. From an existential perspective, our insignificance can be understood as a natural consequence of the freedom we possess. Jean-Paul Sartre, in stating that existence precedes essence, suggests that there is no predetermined purpose. We are free to choose, to shape our lives, and thus take responsibility for creating our own meaning. This freedom, however, comes with a heavy burden, the awareness that, in the grand scheme of things, we are limited, temporary, and, in a way, insignificant. This realization may initially lead to a sense of helplessness, but it also encourages us to seek authenticity that does not rely on illusions about our absolute importance. Another philosophical approach to this issue comes from Friedrich Nietzsche. For him, the death of God, understood not literally, but as the loss of absolute values that once gave life meaning, creates space for nihilism, that is, the feeling that nothing has intrinsic value. This view confronts us with the idea that our achievements, ambitions, and even our most intense emotions are, in the end, ephemeral. Nietzsche did not see this insignificance as something to be mourned, but as an impetus for each individual to become a creator of values. By accepting that we are small in the face of the universe, we can free ourselves from the constant need to prove our worth in the eyes of others, and instead focus our efforts on seeking a more authentic and inventive existence. The challenge, then, is to face this reality without falling into despair. Insignificance does not have to be a sentence of uselessness, but an invitation to humility and connection with others. By recognizing that we are not the center of the universe, we make room for a richer life in which each person has their own story, and every encounter becomes an opportunity for learning. This perspective also allows us to rethink our values. Instead of constantly seeking external validation, which often leads to feelings of inadequacy and isolation, we can focus on self-knowledge and the construction of meaningful relationships. Insignificance, in this sense, is a reminder that true greatness is not about occupying a central place in the cosmos, but about contributing sincerely and authentically to collective well-being. From an ethical standpoint, accepting our insignificance means abandoning the illusion that our existence has absolute and immutable value, inherited from some metaphysical order. Instead, we must understand that the value of life is something we construct. It is the result of our choices, our relationships, and our ability to transform reality, even in modest ways. This understanding frees us from the need to constantly compare ourselves to others, as we realize that the greatness of a life is not measured by the magnitude of its achievements, but by the authenticity with which each person lives their ideals, and the courage to face the uncertainties of the world. It is also important to recognize that the feeling of insignificance can have a positive role in driving us to seek knowledge and personal transformation. When we realize that we are only a small part of a vast universe, we may feel the need to transcend our limits, reinvent ourselves, and explore new ways of understanding existence. This relentless search for meaning can paradoxically make us more resilient and creative, allowing us, even in the face of apparent smallness, to find ways to leave our mark on the world, not as a central point, but as an integral and indispensable part of a much larger whole. Furthermore, the feeling of insignificance can help us cultivate a more compassionate perspective toward others. When we understand that we all share this condition of being finite and limited, it becomes easier to value diversity and recognize that each individual has their own significance within a collective context. This shift, from the arrogance of "I am the center" to the humility of "I am part of something much greater," can transform our relationships, fostering a spirit of solidarity and cooperation that transcends individual selfishness. Accepting that we are insignificant, therefore, is not resigning ourselves to uselessness, but embracing a broader and more honest vision of existence. It is recognizing that, although our presence in the universe may seem small, it is still unique and essential to the complex tapestry of life. This acceptance invites us to seek authenticity that does not depend on a false sense of grandeur, but is grounded in the wisdom of living consciously, without the illusion that we are the absolute center of the cosmos. So, how can we accept this insignificance? The first step is self-knowledge. We must look within, recognize our limitations, and understand that each of us, no matter how small we may seem, has a unique potential. This understanding allows us to free ourselves from the pressure of being great in absolute terms and instead focus on what truly matters: the quality of our relationships, the depth of our emotions, and the authenticity of our choices. The second step is to cultivate intellectual humility by acknowledging that the universe is vast and that our knowledge is always partial and provisional. We can make room for curiosity and the constant pursuit of understanding without being consumed by the need to have all the answers. This attitude enables us to face uncertainty with courage, so that the feeling of insignificance does not become a paralyzing burden, but a catalyst for reflection and personal growth. Finally, it is essential to learn to value our existence for what it is, not for what we wish it to be. The feeling of insignificance can be transformed into a stimulus to seek a more authentic life, where every small achievement is celebrated and every encounter, no matter how seemingly insignificant, is recognized as part of a greater whole. It is through the sum of our experiences, our failures, and our victories that we build the true meaning of being human. If this conversation about accepting our insignificance has provoked thoughts in you, I hope you can see it not as a condemnation, but as an invitation to live more authentically and consciously. After all, recognizing our smallness in the vast universe may be the first step toward discovering the true richness of a life lived with integrity and passion. Until next time.